PlayStation number 2. So this console, it had the problem with sound. It was with a bit of static on it and did not have the reds on the picture. So we are going to address this. The sound, I have seen a video from Retro Tech channel and he fixed that issue with the sound. And the second part we'll look at this chip because it's the responsible for the colors. So we'll go through it. As far as these capacitors, they also look a bit swollen, so we can go through that as well. Let's just go to the chips first. So here with the sound issue, we can immediately see that some of the legs on this chip are not solid, so we need to address that. Let's then check all the little legs on the chip to see if we find any more that are not connected. And we apply a bit of flux on the ones that are not solid, and then we go through with our hot iron to make them solid again. Let's then verify if all of them are solid after we've done this part of the job. So this one here is not solid, so we need to go with the iron again to make it solid. With that job done, we now verify that it is solid. Let's then apply the same procedure on the chip that is responsible for the picture, for the color. Some of the legs are not solid, so we will do the same procedure. We apply a bit of flux and then we go through with our hot iron and make them solid again. With this done, we will check for shorts on this area. And what I'm doing here, I leave one probe on the ground and then go through all the capacitors. The capacitors are connected on one side on the circuit, the other side on the ground. So it has to be only on one of their sides, not the two. If it's the two sides, then we have a short. So this area does not have any shorts, which means that the chip is good, as far as we can tell. Now let's check for the connection between the pin and its destination to see if we have a beep. If we have a beep, we have a continuous path. This is the schematic for this chip. I will leave a link to where I find it, so it's easier for us to understand it. Let's then test it out to see if we fixed it. We have fixed the sound, but not the picture. This is bad. This is strange. So yeah, exactly the same. So we will have to go on the chip again. So let's apply flux throughout all the legs of the chip and then we remove it. In order to remove it, we use our hot air station and we apply around 300 to 350 degrees for a little bit until the chip gets loose and the solder gets melted. And with the tweezer, we just give it a push to see when it is free. And now it's melted, so let's just remove it. And as we can see, there is already a connection done with a wire to a pinhole there. So let's clean this up to have a better look. So we will use a cotton bud with isopropyl alcohol in order to clean all this part. So let's then verify all the pin connections to see if they have a good contact on the pad. So after this they all connect, and the only one that gives me quite a few doubts is this one that we cannot connect to anywhere, and even after scrubbing it a bit it does not go to the copper. So on the schematic it doesn't seem to connect anywhere as well, and this is a bit odd because this can be the problem, but I'm not sure. If you guys know it, well, let me know on the comments and we'll go from there maybe. But well, it doesn't seem really to connect anywhere. Let's then apply a bit of flux to clean the area. Using a knot iron and solder wick, we will then clean all the pads to apply brand new solder and fixate the chip on place again. Once again we apply flux and we put a little tiny bit of solder on the iron and go through all the pins so they can get really beautiful and shiny, so we can then apply the chip. Fogo! Baixa isso! Está aqui. Há bocado estava no 8, agora está no 10. Graças, meu. Isto tem só jogos jogados por aqui. So this little wire is connecting to the pin on the side, on the left side, so we will need to apply a little bit of solder mask under it and try to sort this situation out. So we then, with a brush, apply a bit of solder mask under the wire onto that pad. And we use the UV light to cure it. Here we can see that there's no more short circuit on this wire and the side pin. And we now apply a bit of solder mask, but on the wire. We now apply solder in all the pads so we can then place our chip back on its position. So to place the chip back, we need to make sure that the pin number 1, which is the one on the top left, we know that because we have a little hole on the chip that says that's pin number 1, and on the board you have the number 1 right on the side. We apply heat at around 300 to 350 degrees. While we are applying heat, we try to put the chip in place. I tried a few times here. I don't have much practice on this, still training, but we apply a bit of pressure and leave it until it gets solid. The board here is quite hot, that's why it's not getting in place and solid. And we wait now. And it is solid now. So we now go through all the little legs to see if they are all solid or not. To make sure that the legs are all solid, we go through with our iron to make sure that they get a good connection. So here I messed up a little bit, so I will need to use the solder wick and a lot of flux to remove this huge blob of solder. Again, lack of practice. With this little mistake corrected, let's then clean the area. Let's then once more check for loose legs. And let's test to see what happened. Same thing, no color, no red color, but the sound is working, so we need to address that chip once more. Maybe let's try to remove the capacitors that are bulged and see if that sorts the situation out. On these capacitors, let's apply then the 300 to 350 degrees with some flux, and then we remove them very easily. When applying a new capacitor, make sure it is the same capacity of the previous one. If it's lower, it may blow, so always apply the same or higher. In this case, it's a little smaller, but the capacity is the same, so we go to that. The negative side, it's always the side that is straight. The other side that has the two curves or angles, it's the positive. After that is done, let's then check again. And we actually made it worse. Jesus Christ. So let's then address the chip again. So let's see if any legs got loosened while we applied the heat on this area. Yeah, there it is. A few legs are loose. So we do the same procedure, flux and hot iron. And let's test it again. And we are back on step number 2 because we have sound but no color on the screen. So I will leave it as it is because I will probably need either a new chip or do a connection to that chip, little pin that is loose, and I'll leave it as is at the moment, and we go just to test PlayStation number 3 to see how it is. So this is PlayStation number 3 of the first video, and for now it's working okay. The disc inside is spinning. It recognized the disc. This is good news. It's taking a little bit, and it's on the game. Okay, this one is good. So if you like the video, subscribe, give it a like, and I will see you on the next video. All good for you. Bye bye.